A burglar breaks into a home, holding the husband and wife hostage at gunpoint. He forces them to sit back to back on chairs, tying them securely as he begins to methodically steal everything of value in the house. Once he's done, he prepares to leave, but before he can escape, the husband suddenly shouts, "Please untie her! Just let her go!" The burglar, staying calm, responds, "No, I'm not untying either of you. I need to get away clean, and if I let you go, the cops will be alerted sooner. Trust me, your neighbors will be by to check on you long before you've had a chance to even think about calling for help." The husband, panicked, pleads again, "Just untie her, please." "I'll do anything." The burglar shakes his head. "Look, I'm just trying to avoid any risk. I can't leave any chance for you to alert the authorities." But the husband, now visibly frantic, starts inching closer to the burglar in desperation. "Please, I'm begging you, let her go. She won't call the cops, I swear." The burglar, slightly moved by the man's desperation, pauses for a moment and says, "Wow, you must really love her to beg like that." The husband, practically shaking, replies, "No, you don't understand. She'll be home in 15 minutes. While out hunting in the royal forest, a duke came upon a curious sight. Tree after tree, each bearing a painted archery target, with an arrow dead center in the bullseye. Amazed, the duke exclaimed, "What master of the bow could have done this? Every shot is perfect. I must meet this archer." He and his men pressed deeper into the woods until they came upon a small boy, no older than 10, carrying a simple bow. "Did you shoot those arrows?" the duke asked. The boy nodded shyly. "You didn't walk up and hammer them into the trees, did you?" the duke asked, narrowing his eyes. "No, my lord. I fired them from 100 paces. I swear it on my honor." The duke was astonished. "Incredible! You must come with me. You will serve in my court as royal archer." The boy beamed. "Thank you, my lord." "But before we return," the duke said, "you must tell me your secret. How did you learn to shoot so precisely?" The boy shrugged. "Oh, it's easy. First I shoot the arrow at the tree, then I paint the target around it." A blonde woman got tired of all the jokes about blondes not being smart. She wanted to prove to her husband that blondes can be clever, too. One day, while her husband was at work, she decided to paint a couple of rooms in the house. The next afternoon, her husband came home early and smelled the fresh paint right away. He found his wife lying on the floor, sweating and wearing a ski jacket over a fur coat. Concerned, he asked, "Are you okay?" She smiled and said, "I'm fine. I just wanted to show you that blondes can be smart by painting the house." He asked, "But why are you wearing a ski jacket over your fur coat?" She answered confidently, "Because the paint can said, 'For best results, apply 2 coats.'" A government inspector showed up at a ranch one day. He told the owner, an elderly gentleman, that he was there on official orders to examine the property. The old man nodded and said calmly, "Sure, young man. Just one thing. Please don't go into the fenced-off pasture." The inspector, puffing out his chest, replied, "Listen, Sir Vajan, I represent the government, and this badge gives me the authority to go anywhere I want. I don't need your permission or an explanation. Is that clear, or should I repeat myself?" The rancher just shrugged and went back to his work. A few minutes later, desperate screams rang out. The inspector came tearing across the field at full speed. And right behind him was a massive, angry bull, closing the gap with every step. The terrified man yelled for help, the bull practically breathing down his neck. From the safety of the fence, the rancher called out, "Show him your badge, son! Show him your badge!" A politician is visiting the local mental asylum and asks, "How do you decide whether someone should be admitted here?" "Well," says the director, "we fill up a bath with water, then give the patient a teaspoon, a mug, and a bucket, and ask them to empty the bath as quickly as possible." "I see," says the politician. And if he's got any sense, he'll choose the bucket. No, says the director. If he's got any sense, he'll pull the plug out. Would you like a room with a view? One sunny afternoon, a bear and a rabbit were walking through the forest when they stumbled upon something shiny, a golden frog lounging on a rock. To their shock, the frog sat up and spoke. I'm magical, and since it's rare that I meet forest folk, I'll give you each 3 wishes. The bear didn't hesitate. I wish all the other bears in this forest were female. Poof. The wish was granted. The rabbit thought for a second and said, I'd like a helmet. A helmet appeared. He calmly placed it on his head. The bear raised an eyebrow. Whatever, your loss. Then said, I wish all the bears in the neighboring forests were female, too. Poof. Wish granted. The rabbit shrugged and said, I'll take a motorcycle. Moments later, a shiny red bike rolled up. The rabbit climbed aboard, gave the throttle a few revs. The bear looked at him like he was crazy. Seriously, you've wasted 2 wishes. Then proudly declared, For my final wish, I want every bear on earth to be female. The frog nodded. Done. Then they turned to the rabbit, who grinned, twisted the throttle, and said, For my last wish, I want the bear to be into dudes, and with that, the bunny popped a wheelie and vanished into the trees, leaving one very confused bear behind. After 20 years of saving every macaroni necklace, participation ribbon, and crayon-drawn Mother's Day card, I proudly handed my grown son a box labeled Precious Memories. He opened it, looked inside, and said, What do you want me to do with this? Excuse me? I want you to cry. To say, Mom, you kept all of this? You're incredible. Maybe even build a little shrine in your living room. But instead I got, Why does this smell weird? And then, Is that a tooth? Yes, your baby tooth. You're welcome. And your old Pokemon cards, those might be worth something. And look, it's Mr. Rockington. Mom, that's literally just a rock. A rock you mourned for 3 days when you thought it was lost. Then he hits me with, I live in a 500-square-foot apartment, and slowly backs toward the door. Wait, you forgot your umbilical cord. I'm calling a therapist. A new captain takes command of a company and starts learning how everything operates. One day, he notices 2 soldiers standing guard over an old bench in the middle of the courtyard. Curious, he asks his sergeants, Why are we guarding this bench? They shrug. It's just always been that way. The previous commander ordered it. So the captain calls the previous commander, now a major. Sir, why did you order guards on that bench? The major replies, I don't know. That was already in place when I took over. The commander before me set that up. The captain keeps digging. He calls that commander, now a lieutenant colonel. Same answer. It was passed down from my predecessor. This goes on a couple more times. Each officer kicks the can further up the chain, until finally the captain tracks down a retired 4-star general who led the unit decades ago. The captain respectfully asks, Sir, do you remember why you ordered a guard on that bench? The general pauses for a moment, then bursts out laughing. Wait, are they still guarding that thing? He says. I only put those guards there because the paint was wet. As the world's population grew over the years, Santa's sleigh got heavier and heavier, requiring more reindeer to pull it. To keep up, Santa hired 2 new reindeer, Lee and Franklin. During their extensive training, everything from physical conditioning to navigational skills, they were also briefed on the list of banned items that couldn't be brought on the sleigh. While going through the list, Franklin noticed something odd. Cement was banned. Curious, he turned to Lee and asked, Hey, why do you think cement is on the banned list? Lee shrugged. No idea. Let's ask the boss. I can't see why anyone would want it. They walked to Santa's office and asked, "Hey, Santa, do people actually ask for cement for Christmas?" Santa paused from checking his list, looked at them, and said, "Yes. Every year there's a small village by a river that floods constantly. They ask for all the cement they can get to build a wall. And every year, I refuse. Franklin and Lee exchanged confused looks. That sounds like a perfect gift for a village in need." Franklin then asked, "But Santa, why ban them from getting cement? That sounds like it could really help." Santa sighed, looked at them both, and said, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give out dams." Two guys stumbled out of the bar after a long night of drinking. They hopped into the car and started driving down a lonely road. After a few minutes, they suddenly noticed an old man appear at the passenger window, tapping lightly. The passenger screamed, "Look! There's an old ghost's face on the window." The driver floored the gas pedal, but the old man's face stayed there, pressing against the glass. Terrified, the passenger rolled his window down a crack and shakily asked, "What do you want?" The old man softly replied, "Got any tobacco?" The passenger, half in shock, handed him a cigarette, quickly rolling the window up and yelling to the driver, "Step on it." A few minutes later, after their nerves had calmed, they started laughing at themselves. The driver said, "I don't know what happened, but don't worry, we're doing 80 now." Suddenly, there came that same light tapping on the window. "Oh no, there he is again!" the passenger yelled. Terrified, he rolled the window down again and stammered, "Yes!" The old man asked quietly, "You got a light?" The passenger, panicked, threw the lighter out the window, shouting, "Step on it!" The driver pushed the car to 100 miles an hour, trying to shake off the feeling of unease. Just as they thought they were safe, another tapping echoed on the window. "Oh my God! He's back!" the passenger cried. He quickly rolled down the window and screamed, "What now?" The old man, as calm as ever, simply said, "You want some help getting out of the mud?"